Ooh, okay. Welcome back to another great episode of the Therapy Unzipped podcast. I said the, right? Like
Right.
showing my age. The YouTube, the Facebook, the Therapy Unzipped podcast.
The Ohio State University.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, man, great to have you back. Good to see you.
Good
Tell
to
me
see you,
about
Tom. Great to see you as always. Another week in the books.
it. Yeah.
Here we go, 2025. Woo!
Yeah, man. It's been good so far. I've been engaging in those healthy habits, and without fail, no excuses, and that feels pretty good. Except for this morning, a little back tweak during the warm up. All right. As I was sharing before we were on air or on camera or whatever, however they say that in the industry. But it just reminded me, and I think this could be a good topic for the show, how we need to pay attention to the things we're doing because how much of your day are you just kind of on autopilot and you reap what you sow? So, what seeds are you planting out there? Because all of a sudden we get pissed off because of negative consequences like a low back tweak or things didn't pan out the way that I wanted them to. My expectations were dashed in a certain way. But think about your day. What are you planting? Because you are sowing those seeds right now as we speak, and you're going to reap the potential benefits or negative consequences of that. So, how are you practicing? Because how you practice right now is how you're going to perform. So, I thought that
Right.
could be a good topic, and then whatever else comes up.
Yeah. Yeah, you reap what you sow. How many times have you just for whatever reason been tired, grumpy, whatever, and snapped at somebody, and then it changes the whole dynamic.
Right.
It just puts everything at a different plane, and it's like I didn't mean to do that. I didn't. I'm sorry.
Right.
It
Well,
just
and then we spend time having to do damage control, right?
yeah.
So now the
It's
time that relationship, since it unraveled, because you snapped, like now you've got to spend how many hours, days, weeks, whatever, trying to repair that relationship because they have a bad feeling about you now.
right. Yeah. So, we have to pay attention to what we're doing, so just pay attention to the seeds that you're sowing. We reap what we sow, absolutely. And, it's paying attention and being cognizant. You can't concentrate 100% on everything all the time, it gets exhausting. But, you know,
Right.
we started this challenge. You challenged me to doing 50 kettlebell swings a day,
Yeah.
in 2025. And I'm off to a great start. And, I've done it every day, and then Wednesday, I was just sore, and I was like, "I gotta get out there." I said I would do this, and I gotta get out there, and I'm like, "Wait a minute. No, I don't have to."
Yeah.
I'm listening to my body. My body is saying, "You hurt. Don't do it,"
Yeah.
you can take a day off, and I don't feel guilty. I don't feel bad. I don't feel like I let down a challenge. I took a day. I listened to my body. My body was telling me, "Not today, sir." And I didn't. I took a day off, and I'm
Because
gonna jump back right on it Thursday, and I'll do it again today. And but we got to pay attention, listen to our bodies, listen to what's happening around us, and you pay attention to these outside expectations that we put on ourselves. My expectation is I would have done these kettlebell swings 365 days in 2025, and that was a goal
yeah.
for me. And I'm not going to feel less about that goal because I took a day off listening to my body.
Right. There's going to be a day where you feel really good and you do 100 swings.
All right, I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. You know that all of a sudden you're going to do 50 unbroken swings and it's going to feel really good and you're going to set the bell down, take a little break, stretch, drink some water, and then you're going to go back and do like sets of 10 to work up to 100 and you're going to be like, "Hey, you know what? I made up for the day. Let's just call it square." And you know what?
Mhm.
I've done it. I've done it every single day. I've got whatever the total would be, 365 days times 50, per day. I got to hit that total.
Mm,
You can kind of tweak it that way if you want to.
all right.
Anyway, so that's
Yeah.
been a running theme this year for people. Kind of carried over from last year is that they are seeing the consequences, both positive and negative,
Mm,
of their actions. And so this is when we as therapists get frustrated. I'll just say it. We get frustrated. And we shouldn't because we do our best to meet people where they're at, and we of course are compassionate and empathetic. Um, but there are times when we offer some suggestions and strong suggestions because we've worked with a lot of people and we've seen what happens when you do X, Y, and Z, both in a good way and in a not so good way. And so when we offer these suggestions and we say, hey, do this thing because it's going to be to your benefit, because it's going to help clear up whatever problem, concern, or challenge you are facing. And then they don't do that and they come back and they share the negative consequences of their actions or
Mhm,
inaction. And then it gets frustrating, especially when it's time and time again where we're,
mhm,
hey, did you do this thing? No, I haven't gotten around to doing that, or that's not going to work for me, or give me something else, or, we're like,
mhm.
just do it.
Uh-huh. You reap what you sow, and guess what? You haven't sown anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. We ask the same question. So, what have you been doing to try to manage XYZ? What are you trying to do to manage that symptom? Well, I really haven't done anything. I've been thinking about it. Oh, okay. Let's
Mhm.
start. Thinking's good. But remember, we talked about we could do this, we could try this. Did you try this? Would you do this? And no, I haven't done that yet. Okay.
Right,
And how's that working for you?
right. Same things keep happening. The same, it's pattern, so why don't we try something else? How about try this thing?
Right,
We don't just pull that out of our asses and say, hey, well, try,
right,
standing on your head, wearing a skirt without any underwear on and spin around and, like then you'll be able to be more effective with
right.
what
Yeah, whatever.
it's not just this willy-nilly thing. We actually suggest things that we've seen in practice work out really well. So maybe they won't work for you, but try it first.
Right. And it's like everything else that matters in your life, you pay attention to what's important to you, right? So if you want to improve, if you want to diet, it's not just eating carrots once, eating carrots once. That doesn't make you lose weight. It's a
Right.
change in habits. It's a daily thing. It's paying attention to it on a daily, on a consistent basis.
Right.
It's not. I always hate the word dieting, and I just think it as my eating habits are changing. I
Yeah.
just I don't eat cake anymore. I eat vegetables, or I'm increasing my vegetable intake and
Yeah.
decreasing, the carbs and the sugars that I'm intaking. But
Right.
putting in my body. It's the same thing with mental health. It's like, I don't read a self-help book, or I don't do a gratitude journal and meditate on, once a day or one day and everything's great. That's not how it works. It's got to be
Right.
consistent. You've got to it's a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
I'm prioritizing my health, my mental health on a daily basis, and that's what will lead to long-term improvements.
So I want you all out there who are listening to think about your routine and the things that you are doing consistently per day and what are you gaining from that? Maybe you are gaining traction, maybe you are challenging yourself and you're overcoming, maybe you are becoming more resilient and getting stronger, and more power to you. I'm grateful that you're out there doing that because that's what you ought to do as a human being. But if you're not doing those things and you're trying to, work out really hard for 2 weeks and you feel like you're going to drop 30 pounds, it's not going to happen. If you do the 50 kettlebell swings every day consistently and you have 12 days this entire year that you take off because of vacation or by listening to your body or whatever, you've still done the full year,
Mhm.
of doing those swings. But if you do it and then you have a day where you're like, well, I don't want to do it this weekend. And then, well, I haven't done it for 2 weeks now. And then I did it one day and then I felt pretty good. But then, we wanted to go out that night, so I forgot to do it. Like then it's not going to be beneficial for you.
Right. Absolutely. Consistency, it's adopting Tom, it seems like we say the same things over and over again. It's
Right?
adopting new habits and being consistent with them. We talk about the top five things that will just set you off. And it's not any miracle cures, but It is doing the basics every day. It's breathing, it's putting nutrient, it's good sleep, water intake, getting some exercise, um, sticking to a schedule and getting some exercise. Did I say that twice?
Yeah, well, sleep, nutrition, exercise, water intake, daily schedule,
Yeah,
those five things we talk about. Those are just the basics,
yeah,
but you can
yeah.
do other stuff on top of that, that can be really healthy. But yeah, just and I share this with the athletes that I have, the young kids, that are athletes, or young adults rather, that are athletes, they have to do practice a lot, right? They do whether it's soccer or lacrosse or football or whatnot. Like you go to practice, right? And practices are long, like 3, 4 hours at a time, right? Like, but then when you have a game and you play the game, like you're performing, because it's a performance with you as a team, just like how you've practiced. So if you screwed off in practice or missed practices, then the coach gets rid of you because you're not going to perform because he knows or she knows that you're not going to perform ideally because you're not engaging in the practice. So
Right.
if you screw off on your practice for life, then there's not going to be a coach that's going to come and kick you off the team. You're just going to do shitty at life. So how are you practicing right now?
Yeah. How are you practicing and what are you practicing? What are the things that you do that you're prioritizing?
Yeah.
It's the beginning of the year, so people have grand plans of I'm going to change my life this year. So I'm going to do these 20 things a day to, make sure that my life is improved. Well, 20 things is very adventurous. It's very lofty.
Yeah.
I'm going to dial that back. And what is important to you? What are the things that you need to do on a daily basis? What are the things that you need to practice, put into practice every day, to get you where you need to go? And
Yeah.
once, Tom, you and I have been working on these five things forever. We don't even think about them anymore. They're not things that we have to think about on a daily basis. Well,
Yeah.
occasionally, but I mean, they're just basic habits. So then we can go to the next level. And then what
Yeah.
I'm going to focus on is my meditation. I'm going to focus on, what I am doing in my exercise. Then I can focus on the other things.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you practicing right now? Because you are practicing something.
Mhm.
And based on your practice right now, this is how you're going to perform later, tomorrow, next week, what have you. What is that saying? How do you get better or how do you perform well? Practice, practice, practice.
Mhm.
You are practicing something right now. What are you practicing? Are you practicing getting stronger in the gym? Are you practicing building your business, being more productive in that? Are you practicing good communication with your spouse? Or are you practicing getting fatter and getting weaker and getting lazier? Because we're
Logging my
practicing
Netflix
something.
hours.
What's that?
Logging my Netflix hours.
Yeah, then you're practicing. Okay, you're getting good at watching shows. Okay, you're practicing. And you can talk about the show, I'm sure, with friends and family and whatnot, and that's great. We do that. We practice that, but how much time and energy are you devoting to your practice? And are you going to be happy with the results? If you practice 8 hours a day of watching Netflix, then you're getting really good at watching Netflix. You're getting really good at watching, how the shows are crafted, at the character development, at being able to um, form a nice hole in your memory foam mattress, right?
Here's what I'm practicing, Tom. I practice 45 minutes of searching for something on Netflix to watch, then finding something to watch and falling asleep through it. So that's pretty much my daily
But you become a wizard at the remote control.
practice. My thumb, my thumb is
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah. And not knocking anything that you're currently practicing. I mean, this is your life. So, just think about that. I want you to spend some time thinking about what am I practicing right now and what are the results going to be after that? Because I mean, duh, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out if you practice watching Netflix and eating potato chips and eating donuts, all of what I've done in the past too, what is going to happen to you? You
mm,
know, you're going to procrastinate, you're going to become lazy, you're going to become fat, you're going to become sluggish, and life isn't going to have a whole lot of meaning for you outside of just, the next season of
mm,
whatever show it is you like,
mm.
or when that movie is coming on to streaming.
Mm.
You already know
And the
what's going to happen, so you need to take some time and take some stock in your
right.
day and what are the things you're practicing. And if you don't like what the outcome has been or what it's going to be, if you continue along this path, then it's time to change it. What do you want it to be? Think about the ideal version or the strongest version or the most resilient version of you, the best version you can think of
Mm,
that you want, and then let's reverse engineer it and figure out, well, what do you need to do today that's going to
mm,
practice that was going to be part of your practice to get to that version of yourself.
mm. The other thing, kind of the in that vein that's come up is people don't know, are very anxious about the future. Like things are going, my heart really goes out to people in California right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
Those fires are devastating, displacing a lot of people. People are dying. It's burning to the ground.
Just awful. Just
It's
awful.
just terrible.
Yeah.
So uh, my thoughts and positive vibes are going out to people
Right.
that are affected by that for sure.
And
But
that's definitely not reaping what you sow. I mean,
oh,
that's out of their control, right? There are
absolutely,
so many things that are out of our control. So I guess special note to that,
yeah. Which is right where I was heading is, things, some things are in your control, some seeds you can sow and some seeds you can't. You know,
right,
I mean, we're having a changing political climate. I mean, the world is kind of weird right now. We got lots of civil unrest around the world. Economy's in a weird place. I mean, there's just a lot of things that are beyond our control. All
right,
of these drones are flying around. I mean, there's just
right.
weird stuff right now. So, um,
The
what?
size of a car.
Yeah,
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 like that's just not like a little
right,
drone with a camera, filming an influencer. Like this is it's serious.
right. But we can pay attention to that. But that's some of that stuff's beyond our control right now. We
Yeah,
can't control what other people do, what other things are happening. We can't control what's happening around the world. In a lot of cases, we can't control some of this political stuff right now. But what we can do is pay attention. Be kind to ourselves and do what's in our control. I can't control the civil unrest around the world, but what I can control is my reaction to it, right?
yeah,
So I'm not going to stay up thinking, laying in bed thinking about it. I'm going to do what I can to support the people that I know care about and people I don't know.
right.
Be a good human being. I can do those things. So just know what's
Yeah.
in your control and what's out.
And wouldn't you want to be more resilient anyway by engaging in healthy habits right now so that you can better adapt to whatever is out of your control?
For sure.
I mean, if you sit around back to the eating chips, watching shows, and eating donuts and, fucking off, like, not that there's anything wrong with that. However, then if there's a crisis or crisis that occurs, are how are you going to deal with that crisis if the way you've been practicing has been inaction and just sitting around doing nothing? You're not going to be able to adapt to it as well as you could have.
Hmm.
And that is within your control.
All right. If we say some of the same things over and over and over and over again, that's what we do, but we can't control other people's thoughts, behaviors, actions, words. All we can control is our reaction to them. So, a lot of time, you know, you and I start every session in the same way. I love what you say. Tell me everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm with, how's it going? What's
Yeah.
new? And we get
Yeah.
the, are you going to just believe my sister did, blah, 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 and it's just, you're off to the races, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
what you're talking about, it has nothing to do what your sister said, did, believes, whatever. This is all about your reaction to it.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's talk about why you are reacting to what your sister did. Let's
Right.
talk
Why
about
is this affecting you so
it. Yeah,
deeply?
yeah.
And we subscribe to the Occam's razor, phenomenon or philosophy of just trimming the fat, getting things down to its simplest components,
Mhm.
simplest moving parts. Oftentimes, the most basic, simplest explanation is the correct one. So we make
Yeah.
things so much more complex when
Mhm.
in reality, let's just break it down. The reason why you're upset with your sister and why you reacted that way is because you're not doing the things right now for yourself to
Right.
propel you forward in your life. And so you're focusing on somebody else's shit instead
Mhm.
of your own.
Right. And I love, that phrase that we just keep cutting the fat back because it's, the example of someone, my sister did and said this, and it's like, okay, so how does that affect you? Why does that make you so upset? It's just not fair. Oh, so we're talking about fairness.
Yeah.
Let's talk about fairness.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
does fairness mean to you? Well, because she can do this, but I can't do this. So we're right back to you. What do you mean you can't do that? You could do that
Right.
if you want to, but
Right.
that wouldn't be right. Okay, so that's not right for you.
Because
Cut,
then
cut,
I feel
cut,
like
cut.
I don't matter.
Right.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
So we're right back to daddy. You think daddy loved your sister more than daddy loved you.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Mm,
that's what we have to work through.
yeah.
And
Cutting the
that's what we
fat.
do.
Cutting the
This is
fat.
what a
Cut.
skilled therapist does. Help you work through those patterns, those deep-rooted negative core beliefs that you have about yourself,
Mhm,
because that's what we're really after. And then when we offer some suggestions, like
mhm,
not that you have to do every single thing that we say or that we're right, but just try it out.
mhm, for sure.
We didn't just make it up like, hey, try
Right.
this. Yeah,
Yeah, it's so
maybe
funny.
there's
We
something
didn't
to
make
it.
this stuff up. We've only been doing this for, 25 years.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Hmm. So
Yeah.
what are you practicing right now, and what is that going to lead to? What's going to be your harvest based on what you're doing right now? And if you don't like what it's going to shape up to be, then change it.
Mhm.
What do you want it
Absolutely.
to be?
Mhm. And when you are having negative reactions to things, or you're having some kind of anxiety or some reaction, some emotional response to a situation, a behavior, or whatever, take a look at yourself. Don't do that external stuff, right? Because you can't control the external. Take the internal stuff. What am I doing? Why is this affecting me? What do I want the outcome of this to be? How do
Yeah,
I, if in a perfect world, if I woke up tomorrow and this didn't bother me anymore, how would I know? What would be the difference? I wouldn't, those kinds of things. So
yeah,
always turn that bright light on yourself. What is
yeah.
it? Why am I reacting to this? What's going on with me?
Because you have no control over outside events. And
Nope.
that's why I love that serenity prayer. And I know they use that in the rooms of self-help groups. I'll remind you, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
All right. And the wisdom to know the difference.
Yeah, I love that. It's such a good reminder. Not only is it helpful in the recovery community, but I think it's just helpful for anybody to
Hmm.
understand that there are a lot of things you can change,
Hmm.
especially about yourself, but there's so many other things that are outside of your control that you have no influence over. And, even though it's affecting you, you
Hmm.
can change how you react. You can change how adaptable and how resilient you are in the face of that adversity, whatever it might be, or crisis. Um, and understanding that there's so much out of your control, then why worry about that too much?
Hmm. Yeah.
Return the
And
focus to
I
yourself.
talk with people, it's like, I'm just gonna throw an example out there. I'm so upset over the war between Russia and Ukraine, and so many millions of people are dying and
Yeah.
displaced and whatever. Okay, I get that. I understand that wholly. What can you do? Well, there's nothing I can't do. I can't stop the war. No, you can't. But what can you do? Well, you can put some prayers out for the people that are impacted, right? You can,
Absolutely.
if you feel so inclined, you can go support groups that, that can make a difference, the
Yeah.
Salvation Army or whatever, that are helping people, or UNICEF or, some of those other organizations.
Right.
A more local thing, there's a lot of people that are very upset about the changing political climate. Um, you can't change that. The election's over. It's just it is what it is. What can you do? What is in your control? You can
Yeah.
stay informed. You can stay, you can work to support candidates that more align with what your views are for the future. I mean, there are things that you can do
Yeah.
instead of just lamenting about what you can't do.
Yeah. This is a good point. So you have options.
Mhm.
It's all about choices. How you feel today is a direct correlation to what you did yesterday. And how do you want tomorrow to be? How do you want to feel tomorrow? And do something about it today. You know, you
For
feel
sure.
like shit today? Well, what did you do yesterday? Or what did you do last week and the past couple of days that has led to you feeling this way? Do you
Mhm.
like it? Do you want to change it? All right, let's start today.
Mhm. For sure.
You
You
feel
reap
like
what
a
you sow. The seeds you sow today are the crops you reap tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I want you to take a real look at what you're practicing right now today and what that's going to lead to. And of course, as always, we're here for you guys out there. We care. And I want you to comment and send in your questions so that we can help you out there. What are you struggling with right now that you want us to talk about on the show? Send those into questions at therapyunzipped.com.
Absolutely.
Brett, a
Um,
treat as always, an honor to be friends with you. Thank you again for the show. Thank you for today and all the future shows that we're going to do and all the people we're going to help out there.
Heck yeah. It's fun. I think you and I just do this for our own sake. It's
Hey,
great that, there's
that's
thousands
fine.
of people listening. That's wonderful and all, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I think you and I just have a good time.
We just have a good time. So
Mhm.
we'll still do that no matter what.
All right. All right. Well, take care of that lower back. Listen to your body there, Mr. Tom.
A good reminder, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
For sure.
And I will see you next week.
All right. You have a great weekend.